My wife signed up for swimming lessons and told me with a smile that there'd be benefits for me once she learned. Imagining my wife in a bikini, I gave my full support with both hands raised. But later, when I happened to pass by the swimming pool to pick her up, I saw her in the water, pressed intimately against the coach. Rarely getting off work early, I made a special trip to the pool to pick up my wife Lena. I never expected to freeze in place the moment I stepped into the swimming pool area. My wife and her instructor were pressed tightly together in the water. The man smirked as his hands slid down from my wife's shoulders, pausing to squeeze whenever he encountered soft curves. That pervert was taking advantage of swimming lessons to harass my wife. I was instantly furious and immediately wanted to charge over to teach him a lesson. To my surprise, instead of being angry about being taken advantage of, my wife actually squirmed and willingly kissed that coach with a smile. The two of them were practically glued together, kissing passionately in broad daylight. Ugh, here we go again, a middle-aged woman muttered while covering her child's eyes. What's going on? Do these two always act like this? I suppressed my anger as I approached to ask. Absolutely. That coach is the woman's kept pretty boy. They pulled his stunt every single day. The swimming pool area was warm, yet I felt like I'd fallen into an ice cellar. The wife I believed knew and loved me was locking lips with another man, and not just once or twice either. I inched closer to the swimming pool. The two inside were laughing and playing without any restraint. You're so annoying. You're always like this. My wife cooed in a tone she'd never used with me. Can you blame me? You're just too irresistible, sis. How could I possibly hold back? You're such a smooth talker. I've already talked to my husband about investing money for you to open a swimming pool. Sis, you're the best to me. But won't this make things difficult for you? What are you talking about? Isn't the money he earns meant for the two of us to spend? The two shamelessly began rolling around in the water again. I halted my steps forward. I recalled how my wife had tried to persuade me just days ago to invest our family's money into a relative's project. I thought she was just considering family ties and didn't think much of it. Never imagined she actually wanted me to foot the bill for her boy toy. I wanted to rush over and beat the two of them up, but I managed to restrain myself. Exposing them now would do me no good. It would only alert them. I couldn't let them off so easily. 2. Recently, my wife suddenly became obsessed with swimming, spending all day at the pool and even reluctant to come home. I asked her why she suddenly became obsessed with swimming. She insisted it was because she wanted a better figure, so others would envy me for having such a beautiful wife. Though I thought it unnecessary, I was still deeply moved. Little did I know the truth was like this. And she kept saying she wanted others to envy me for being cluelessly cuckolded. I pulled out my phone and called my wife. Cursing under her breath, she let go of the coach and swam back to the edge of the pool. When she answered the phone, her tone was far from pleasant. What do you want? I'm busy right now. Well, color me surprised. I'd never seen someone cheat with such righteous indignation before. Are you at the swimming pool right now? I'll come pick you up. No need. You go home and cook first. I'll swim 2 more laps before heading back. But I just saw police heading to your swimming pool for a raid. They said there's some group indecency happening. I'm worried you might get scared. What? Her voice suddenly became flustered. She scrambled out of the pool in a hurry and ran toward the locker room. I pretended to know nothing and expressed concern to her before promptly hanging up the phone. Seeing the two of them in such a sorry state finally lifted my spirits a little. 3. I drifted through the journey in a daze, and even after arriving home, my mind remained completely blank. I slipped into the bedroom, lay down on the bed, and didn't want to move a muscle. My wife came back after a long time, grumbling with dissatisfaction the moment she stepped through the door. Didn't I tell you to come back and cook? Why is there nothing ready? I'm not feeling well. Maybe you should eat out. I didn't have the energy to deal with her anymore. Hearing that I was unwell, she didn't even step into the bedroom. With a cold snort, she turned around and walked straight out the door. No doubt, she must have gone to see that pretty boy. I forced myself to muster some energy and walked to the study, intending to research how to draft divorce papers, only to discover an unfamiliar icon had appeared on the desktop. I rarely used the study computer. It was my wife who used it most often. As if possessed, I clicked open that icon. It turned out to be a live streaming app. The existing account logged in automatically. Needless to say, it was my wife's, with a profile picture of her sitting in my car, smiling radiantly. I skimmed through hastily. The account followed only one streamer, and their chat history dated back several months. I'm so lonely at home. I really want a man to cherish me. I want to experience what it's like to have an affair. It must be so thrilling. What's the fun in only being with my husband? I feel like being with you is what real love is. Just seeing you makes me want to lick you. I couldn't believe my ears. Such shameless, vulgar words were actually coming from my elegant and dignified wife. That male live streamer must be the swimming pool instructor. He posts half-revealing photos all day long, sweet-talking my wife with big sister this and big sister that, making her utterly delighted. Until they exchanged WeChat IDs, the frequency of their chats on the live streaming app finally decreased. I made sure to save all these chat records. If it ever came to a lawsuit, they would serve as proof of her infidelity. After reading so many eye-searing messages, I lost all motivation to do anything else and simply called up a buddy to grab drinks. For, after listening to me ramble through the whole story, my good friend George slammed the table and stood up. I've seen this trick too many times. These small-time streamers are getting better and better at reeling in rich women. Seeing my skepticism, he patted his chest with conviction. If you don't believe me, go gift him for a few days. He'll definitely try to hook you too. That's just how this good buddy of mine is. Never takes anything seriously. Enough talk, let's drink. I raised my glass. After finishing the drinks, I couldn't be bothered to go home. There was no way I could face my cheating wife calmly. I checked into a hotel room and lay on the bed, mindlessly scrolling through my phone. George's words kept echoing in my ears, and I couldn't resist the temptation. I downloaded that live streaming app, registered an account, and changed the username to Lonely Rose. Just as that male streamer was live, I sent him 2 virtual yachts. Thank you for the gifts, Sister Rose. Sending hearts to Sister Rose. At that moment, I noticed my wife was actually on the viewer leaderboard. That nameless fury inside me flared up again. I hurriedly exited the live stream, afraid that if I stayed any longer, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from cursing those 2 out. Unexpectedly, this impulsive move of mine accidentally achieved an unforeseen effect. After that small-time streamer ended his broadcast, he actually sent me a private message. Rose sister, were you in a bad mood tonight? Tell your little brother what's wrong. I'll help however I can. He used the same lines on my wife back then. Nothing much, just feeling a bit lonely in a marriage that's lost its spark. I tried my best to mimic a woman's tone in my reply. He took the bait, as expected, and became even more eager to chat with me. I took the initiative to suggest adding him on WeChat for a proper conversation, and he agreed without hesitation. I registered a new account and sent him my WeChat ID. He quickly sent me a friend request. After adding me, he bombarded me with a flurry of photos. Rose sister, are you satisfied with your little brother? That remains to be seen when we meet offline. Don't worry, sis. Your little brother here is a boxer, plenty of strength to spare. I smirked. This little bastard had quite the repertoire of identities. Over at Lena's place, he was a swimming coach, and now with me, he's suddenly a boxer. I didn't waste a single moment that night, stringing the streamer along while simultaneously chatting up every top donor in his live broadcast gift rankings. Just as I suspected, every one of the top-ranked donors had some kind of ambiguous relationship with him, each even convinced they were the only one. 5. My wife suddenly called. Why haven't you transferred the money for the investment I mentioned last time? There's been some trouble with the business recently. I made excuses. That's not acceptable. You must transfer the money, or it means you don't love me. Of course I wouldn't relent. Don't have spare cash these days. Gotta go. It wasn't until the next evening that I returned home, only to be greeted by a stony face. Don't you love me anymore? If we can't make this marriage work, let's just get divorced. I sneered inwardly. Don't worry. Once I've got solid evidence of your affair, you won't have a choice but to divorce. But outwardly, I pretended to be terrified. Juan, aren't you just breaking my heart like this? I really don't have spare cash right now. How about you take out an online loan to invest first? She hesitated, clearly unwilling to agree. I told her that as soon as I had the money, I would immediately help her pay it back. Well then, I'll think about it. Seeing her wavering, I knew I just needed to push a little harder. I made an excuse about urgent company business and stepped out. I turned around and added Lena as a friend using a newly registered WeChat account, selectively sending her the chat logs between me and that streamer. I think this young man is quite decent, but he keeps using you as an excuse to reject me. If you really care about him, you should make things clear with him. I have plenty of money and can invest in the career he wants to pursue. Don't be too selfish. He likes you, so you should consider his feelings too. Lena was already wavering, and now I've given her an extra push. Nearly an hour later, she finally sent me a screenshot of a transfer record, a staggering sum of over $2 million. This was probably the total amount she, as someone without a job, could borrow from all the lending platforms. I can support Eric's career too. I hope you have some self-respect and don't stoop to being the other woman. I can have him come stay with me anytime I want. Can you? With you, he'll always have to hide. I kept needling her. Of course I can. I've already talked to Eric. He's coming to stay at my place tomorrow night. Lena wasn't the brightest. She took the bait after just a few words. Within minutes, Lena sent me a text. Honey, don't come home these next few days. My best friend is staying over. It wouldn't be appropriate for you to be here. All right then, have fun. I knew exactly what was going on, so naturally I didn't believe her nonsense about some girlfriend coming to stay. The next day, I skipped work and bought several mini cameras, installing them all while Lena was out. I sat waiting on a bench downstairs, and finally in the evening, I saw the two of them walk back arm in arm. Before long, Lena sent the intimate photos of her and that other man to my alternate account. This is my home. Eric and I are doing just fine. Don't even think about coming between us anymore. I saved the photos and privately messaged each of the wealthy women I'd previously confirmed had flirtatious relationships with the streamer. I sent them the photos along with my home address, berating every single one of them, warning them to behave if they ever thought about being homewreckers. I had already informed the security guards that guests were coming to my place today, instructing them to let anyone who gave my home address into the compound. About 20 minutes later, people started arriving, one car after another parked right below my apartment. Not a single person came alone. Each brought at least a carload of men and women, rolling up their sleeves and grabbing whatever they could to storm upstairs. By the time I took the elevator up to watch the commotion, Lena and that bastard were already dragged out, kneeling in the hallway, getting beaten mercilessly from all sides. I confidently took out my phone and started recording. There were so many people filming around that I didn't stand out at all. Lena's face was already swollen like a pig's head from the beating, and she didn't dare to look up at the crowd. I just wanted to gather evidence for the divorce lawsuit, but everyone else was determined to ruin the reputation of this cheating man, who had more affairs than an octopus's legs, and a shameless woman who provoked others like a horny little terrier. I saw with my own eyes several people uploading videos directly online. Some were even live streaming the whole thing. The man couldn't take it anymore, kneeling on the ground and kowtowing frantically. "Spare me. I'll never dare again. Please, sister, I beg you." Unfortunately, he had too many sisters. His plea only made things worse. Several wealthy women exchanged glances. "Beat him to death. How dare he call us sisters? Which one of us is his sister?" 7. Because the commotion was too loud, neighbors had already called 110 and 120. The groups reluctantly stopped, cursing as they dispersed. I pulled out my phone and called Lena. "Hey, honey, are you having fun?" I asked knowingly. "Fun, of course we're having fun." Her tone was cheerful and relaxed, though occasionally punctuated with hissing sounds of pain. "Good to hear. I hope you stay this happy every day." My words carried a hidden meaning. Lena had no idea that I already knew everything, still dreaming her little fantasy of pulling the wool over my eyes. "My best friend had a fight with her family and needs to stay with us for a few days. I'm sorry, honey, you might have to stay out a bit longer." "No problem." I knew she wouldn't dare see me with her face swollen like a pig's head. "It's not polite for me to stay away the whole time. How about I come home tomorrow to help you host your friend?" "No." She raised her voice. "I'll explain later. I have something to do now. Gotta go. We're all adults. There's no point in keeping up this childish charade forever. I've already decided. Once I've gathered all the evidence, I'll file for divorce from Lena." To my surprise, she actually called me again that evening. "Honey, can you lend my best friend 10 million? She's in urgent need." Any fool could tell this so-called best friend was undoubtedly that young gigolo she'd been keeping. Who knows how much money he'd swindled from wealthy women before, and now they were demanding repayment. An affair was bad enough, but did she really expect me to play the fool who'd settle her lover's debts? The thought of letting her off the hook just now faded away once more. "I told you I don't have any money on hand right now." "Then just mortgage our house, or sell if you have to." Lena's tone was casual. She couldn't possibly not know what this house means to me. I lost both parents in childhood and lived with my aunt, who also passed away when I was in college. I've always longed for a house of my own, a place to call home. You could say I risked my life to buy this apartment. I collapsed from exhaustion and was hospitalized multiple times, only to struggle back to consciousness and return to work. When the property deed arrived, I held Lena and cried like a child. I said we finally had a real home now, a shelter from life storms. Even after our business took off, I couldn't bear to move out. This house held special meaning for me. Lena knew exactly what this house meant to me, yet she chose without hesitation to sell it for that pretty boy. My heart turned completely cold. I hung up the phone without hesitation. Within 2 minutes, I received a message from Lena. She sent me a photo of the property deed. "Hurry up and get the money together if you don't want me to sell the house." 8. She still thought I knew nothing about her affair. Still believed she could manipulate me as brazenly as before. Back then, Lena told me the house couldn't be registered under my name. She'd divorce me if I insisted. I backed down at that time. But now, I won't retreat anymore. I consulted a lawyer and confirmed that in this situation, I could directly change the property ownership to my name. Just as I was about to confront Lena, my mother-in-law called. Needless to say, she must be calling to ask for money. Lena's family background was even worse than mine. To sum it up, a vain and materialistic mother, a hopelessly gambling-addicted father, a brutish and dim-witted brother, and her, broken and helpless. All these years, I've been shouldering the living expenses for her entire family, on top of periodically paying off her father's gambling debts. By all accounts, yesterday was when I should have transferred their living allowance. But having discovered Lena's infidelity, how could I possibly keep giving the money? Sure enough, the money didn't arrive on the first day, and by the second day, the accusations came pouring in. "Hey, what's going on? Why haven't you transferred the money yet?" The moment the call connected, my mother-in-law's sharp, accusatory voice came through. "Lena and I have had a complete falling out. Not a single cent from now on," I replied coldly. "What?" My mother-in-law tried to say more, but I had already hung up the phone. Not long after, the phone rang again. This time her attitude was much better. "Listen to me, Mom. It's not easy for you two to have come this far as a couple. I originally set aside some money to send to you, but Lena disagreed. She insisted I give the money to her best friend instead." "What?" My mother-in-law hastily hung up the phone. I leisurely opened the home surveillance feed. 9. Lena was holding her phone, screaming. "What do you know? This is Eric's life-saving money. Eric is my lover. What's so great about that dullard? All he knows is making money, money, money. Only Eric has made me experience the feeling of true love." It was probably because Zhang's mother kept pressing her, insisting on getting the money. Lena became increasingly hysterical, and in the end, she outright threatened to divorce. If you keep pushing me, I'll divorce right now and marry Eric, and you'll never see a penny from me again. It seemed Zhang's mother was truly frightened by her words, because Lena's expression softened after hearing what the other person said. That's more like it. We're family, and we're all in this to get more money out of him. We can't afford to turn on each other first. It seemed they had completely reached a consensus, and Lena happily ended the call. 10. When Lena called me again, it was because she had received a court summons. Are you insane? How dare you sue me in court? As for the property transfer, I had already prepared the documents and submitted them to the court. When a verdict comes, doesn't matter, as long as the ownership of this house remains uncertain now. Lena won't be able to sell the house. These days, Lena probably never imagined I'd consider taking her to court, still brimming with confidence that I was intimidated and scrambling to raise money. If it weren't for the fact that this house was purchased before marriage, I wouldn't have to go through all this trouble. She was still roaring on the other end of the phone. I could faintly hear that pretty boy's voice in the background too. Sis, don't jump to conclusions yet. There might be some misunderstanding. Let's talk this through properly. Seeing that I remained silent, Lena started feeling guilty. She softened her voice and took the initiative. Honey, let's talk. All right, shall I come home now? I raised an eyebrow. No, she refused immediately. After all, she still thought her affair was perfectly concealed. I'm not available right now. I'll contact you in a few days. Honey, don't act impulsively for now. I knew she wanted to wait until the marks on her face were less noticeable before meeting me. But I wasn't willing to give her that much time. 11. That same day, I called Lena's mother and told her Lena had been acting strangely toward me recently, which made me very unhappy, and that I no longer intended to give her any more money. Mrs. Zhang was fully aware of the disgusting things her daughter had done and was stammering, trying to come up with excuses to fob me off. William, who was standing nearby, grew anxious and quickly snatched the phone. What do you mean? You dare not pay up? Believe me, I'll fucking kill you. William was Lena's biological brother, and he was no good. In his 30s, he had spent more time in prison and juvenile detention centers than at home. Due to the doting of Zhang's parents, he had long grown accustomed to having money handed to him reverently by his family. The moment he heard me say I wouldn't give him money, he was the first to panic. His reaction didn't surprise me. I had deliberately chosen lunchtime to make this call, knowing William would be sitting beside Zhang's mother and would hear my words. Faced with such an attitude, I remained unperturbed. If your sister keeps upsetting me, you won't get a single penny. Want money? Go talk some sense into your precious sister. William took the bait. He slammed the table. I'm going to my sister's place. Mrs. Zhang was saying something in the background, but the phone's microphone was too poor. I couldn't make it out. Not that it mattered. I knew they couldn't outlast William. Mr. and Mrs. Zhang had long grown accustomed to their son always getting his way. Even if it meant breaking the law, they'd cheer him on as long as it was their son doing it. 12. I checked the train schedule from Lena's hometown to my city. The next departure was in 1 hour, arriving at 9 p.m. Perfect timing. I pulled out all the documents I hadn't had the focus to review these past few days. There's still a good show to watch tonight. By 9:30, I estimated William and his group should be arriving at my doorstep soon. I sat down at the computer, pulled up the home surveillance feed, and waited for this group to put on a proper performance for me. All these years of supporting their entire family had significantly elevated Lena's status at home. In the past, if she knew her brother was coming, she would have cleaned the house spotless and prepared a table full of dishes, waiting respectfully. But now, she lounged comfortably on the sofa, hugging that pretty boy, watching TV while cracking melon seeds. The door opened, and as William entered, his gaze immediately fixed on that pretty boy. He wasn't highly intelligent, but he wasn't stupid either. Who is this man? He's my lover. Lena looked at William triumphantly. William slapped her immediately. Are you crazy? If your husband finds out, do you think he'll keep sending living expenses home every month? In William's eyes, whether his sister lived or died didn't matter at all, nor did her happiness. All he cared about was that Lena's affair might cost him his spending money. Lena's injuries from being caught in the affair last time hadn't fully healed yet, and William didn't hold back with his slap. Her face quickly swelled up like a steamed bun. The pretty boy rushed over to intervene. Bro, calm down. Let's talk this out properly. William slapped him too. Get lost. Say what you will, but even though this pretty boy was a gold digger, seducing wealthy women was still a skill that required regular practice. He had considerable strength and quick reflexes, actually managing to catch William's fist with his hand. This infuriated William completely. He wouldn't even allow his own parents to resist when he hit them, and now some pretty boy had caught his hand. He felt utterly humiliated. Rushing into the house, he grabbed a knife and swung it at the pretty boy. 13. Lena, already terrified, turned even paler beneath the bruises darkening her face. She rushed forward to stop him, but was held back by her own parents. Your brother knows his limits. He won't kill anyone. Let him vent his anger. You're insane. How dare you let him take his anger out on my boyfriend? That's your brother. Mrs. Zhang declared righteously. You need to be sensible, Cindy. You and your brother are family. Mr. Zhang quickly chimed in. No matter how much that pretty boy had trained, flesh could never withstand a kitchen knife. Screaming shrilly, he clutched his leg after William slashed him twice. William then turned his bloodied knife toward Lena. Call your husband right now and tell him to transfer the money immediately or I'll fucking kill him. Lena was completely stunned by what was happening before her eyes, her hands trembling as she pulled out her phone from her pocket. 14. The call came through quickly. I deliberately waited a while before answering, just to savor the sight of Lena's frantic, uneasy expression. Hello, honey, please, transfer the money to my brother right away. What did you say? I can't hear you. I pretended the signal was bad, shouting hello, hello, into the phone a few times. TCH. William grew impatient. Lena's forehead was beaded with sweat, so clearly visible I could see every drop through the surveillance feed. She gritted her teeth and hung up the phone. I still have 50,000 here. Take it for now. Her legs trembling, she walked back to the bedroom and pulled out a bank card. The password is my birthday. William reached out to take it, then backhanded another slap across Lena's face. Got some nerve hiding secret money now? I'm taking this cash, and your husband better transfer his money quickly too. Let's go. This place is too shabby. I can't stand living here. Thinking of leaving? Letting him walk away like this would be too forgiving after all the arrogance my dear brother-in-law's shown me. I told the security guard at our residential complex that burglars had broken into my house and asked him to do whatever he could to stop them from escaping. The police station wasn't far from my home. They responded quickly after receiving my call and directly intercepted William's group at the complex entrance. The entire group was taken back to the police station. 15. In the past, Lena had always been the one to back down when it came to family matters. But this time, I don't know if it's because her pretty boy got hurt. Surprisingly, she stood her ground with unexpected toughness. At the police station, she stubbornly insisted that William and his crew had broken into rob and even attempted murder. Mr. and Mrs. Zhang were frantic with worry, and in their desperation, they actually called me as a last resort, begging me to talk some sense into Lena. Talking sense into them is out of the question. Adding fuel to the fire is more like it. My brother has always bossed you around, and I can't let him keep doing that. That's what Lena said when we met. Did you get the money ready? My friend's in a hurry. Seeing I wasn't responding, she cut straight to the chase with irritation. Money was the only reason she wanted to meet me. No money. What? Are you deliberately refusing to help my best friend? Do you believe I'll divorce you? Go ahead and divorce then, Lena. Do you really think I can't live without you? You dare agree to that? Lena was so angry her nose twisted in fury. You just wait. I'll hire a lawyer to sue you and leave you with nothing. She stood up, pointing her finger at my nose as she spat out these vicious words. Fine. I'd love to see how you plan to sue me. Lena wasn't a fool either. Ever since our last argument over the property transfer, she'd realized that I was the sole breadwinner in the family. If we went through legal channels, she probably wouldn't get much. So she actually thought she could use public opinion to interfere with the judicial process. She ran to the largest commercial plaza in the city, knelt on the ground, and tearfully accused her husband of infidelity and domestic violence. Now that she wanted a divorce, her husband refused and even threatened to kill her if she dared to leave him. 16. The onlookers, unaware of the truth, actually believed her lies and collectively condemned her irresponsible husband. Within days, the incident sparked a storm of public outrage online. All the brains she had in her life were used to fabricate lies and slander me. If I weren't the person involved, I'd be cursing that husband of hers too. In her account, I'm some talentless poor boy who she graciously accepted despite her parents' objections back then. But after I made my fortune, I abandoned her in our old tiny apartment and refused to come home. She even photographed all the bruises William gave her that day and falsely accused me of being the one who beat her. More and more people began focusing on this incident, with public opinion ultimately pointing fingers at our local court, accusing them of shielding a domestic abuser. The court had no choice but to issue a statement clarifying that they had never received Lena's appeal materials in the first place. But netizens refused to believe it. They had already made up their minds that Lena was the most pitiful victim, and everyone else was persecuting her. Seeing that the timing was about right, I arranged a dinner meeting with the owner of the mall where Lena had been playing the victim all day. 17. So the next day, every digital screen in the entire shopping mall was looping footage of my past with Lena, my unshakable monthly transfers to her entire family, chat records of Lena bossing me around and constantly threatening divorce, chat logs tracing Lena's affair with that pretty boy from the livestream platform all the way to WeChat, the video of Lena and her gigolo being cornered in the room by a group of wealthy women kneeling on the ground and getting beaten, and the video of her and that gigolo shamelessly carrying on in my house. The situation Lena had spent nearly half a month kneeling to create was overturned by me in a single day. When she knelt in the square, only to find people no longer fussing over her like before, but instead covering their noses and looking at her sideways, she still didn't know what had happened. It's so unfair. How can people be so heartless and lacking in compassion these days? She pounded the ground with her hands, her hair disheveled and scattered. In the past, someone would have stepped forward by now to stop her and offer warm comfort. But today, the audience's reaction left her disappointed. This woman has no shame, lying through her teeth with her eyes wide open. How bold. Exactly. The mall screens are all showing it. Does she really think she can pretend not to see? Passers-by pointed at her and whispered, "What electronic screen?" She suddenly looked up and saw me standing not far away. Was it you playing tricks? She lunged toward me, but collapsed face first on the ground, her legs too weak from kneeling too long. I approached her. Did you really think I wouldn't know what you've been doing at the swimming pool? You, what do you know? Her voice finally betrayed fear. So, curious? Why don't you go see for yourself? 18. Lena nearly lost her mind when she saw what was playing on the mall's digital screens. She tried to smash the screens, but was stopped, of course. People pointed fingers at her, some even throwing trash her way. She could only cover her face and flee in panic. When she came back to see me again, not a trace of her former arrogance remained. Husband, I know I was wrong. Please, have mercy on me. If you truly knew you were wrong, you wouldn't have put on this act for so many days, I sneered at her. I was just confused for a moment. Someone else seduced me. I'm not a fool. Of course I don't believe what she's saying now. Even as she kept pleading desperately, I directly showed her the court summons. And not just for a divorce case. I also sued her for defamation and violation of my right to reputation. If nothing unexpected happens, she will likely face a prison sentence of up to 3 years. This time, Lena was completely terrified. She tried every possible opportunity to meet with me, but I avoided them all. I didn't even show up on the day of the trial. I only heard from my lawyer that her parents actually attended and berated her harshly in court, saying she deserved the death penalty for sending her own brother to prison wouldn't be an exaggeration. As for her pretty boy lover, he never showed up. Rumor has it William stabbed him in the leg, and due to delayed treatment, he's permanently crippled. Now he can't repay the money and is being hunted down by the wealthy women he once scammed, living like a rat scurrying across the street, too terrified to show his face publicly. Who could have predicted that in court, Lena would announce with a radiant glow that she was pregnant? Pregnant women naturally cannot be imprisoned. Once again, she strode out of the courthouse with her usual swaggering, triumphant air. But what she didn't know was that her misfortune had not yet ended. We were already divorced. She had cheated and was pregnant with another man's child, resulting in her being directly sentenced to leave the marriage with nothing. All her savings had long been squandered on that pretty boy, and a meager remainder had been drained dry by her parasitic family. After all these years, she possessed no marketable skills, no work experience, only a notorious reputation known to all. Penniless and without income, she had no choice but to seek out that pretty boy again, hoping to build a life together. But the pretty boy had only been after her money all along. Now that she was destitute, of course he wanted nothing to do with her. What kind of woman has no shame like you? Can't even shake you off no matter how hard I try. The pretty boy, abandoning his former groveling attitude, grew increasingly bold. Eric, I'm carrying your child. Lena stared at her lover in disbelief. You're such a loose woman. Who knows how many men you've slept with? The pretty boy wasn't having any of it. He shoved her away viciously and limped off. Who could resist when you're so utterly captivating, sister? A college student witnessed the scene, filmed it, and posted it online. Unfortunately, no one felt the slightest sympathy for her. I scrolled through the comment section, where many enthusiastic netizens were recounting the scandals Lena had been involved in back in the day. Lena probably never expected that the love she had pursued for so long would end in such an ugly way. She refused to give up and wanted to confront that pretty boy to have it out with him. Unfortunately, not only did she fail to get the outcome she desired, but she was also pushed to the ground by him. The child wasn't kept. Before, she avoided prison by using this child as a shield, but now that the child is gone, so is her freedom. Before being arrested and sent to prison, she came to see me. I regret it. Why was I so bewitched back then that I couldn't just live a good life with you? The question she asked was one I'd pondered many times myself. Why did she betray me for that promiscuous, gold-digging pretty boy? Perhaps it's because humans are inherently ungrateful, forever incapable of cherishing what they possess. Lena was now in utter disarray, emaciated like a skeleton. The sight of her sitting on the floor with disheveled hair, wailing about her regrets, was even somewhat frightening. Not a single ripple of emotion stirred within me. Everyone must pay the price for their choices. From the day she betrayed me, this miserable fate of hers was already sealed. Watching her being taken away by the police, I turned and headed home. All the furniture had been replaced with brand new pieces. From now on, I should focus on living my own life well. The end.